Prepare yourself for invasion. This is Indie Invasion.
What's up, invaders? Welcome to another episode of Indie Invasion Shorts. You know, after 3 years, I'm almost used to my voice on the intro. Almost.
Got to lower it. You need those dulcet tones.
You know how it is. It's when I read the stories. You know, you got to get real close to the microphone. drop your voice a couple of octaves, and sometimes just talk in an accent because it's funny. So
that intro has all the nostalgia too.
Yes. We've had some interesting ones. We have some cool ones. But welcome. As you guys can see, we have a face with us right there.
Right
there.
Hey, everybody.
Hard to point. It's Matt Burns of Violent Dark fame. Eric will say he's of Don't Look Back fame.
Yeah.
I will say he's of Violent Dark fame because, well, Eric doesn't have Violent Dark and I don't have Don't Look Back. So that's why.
And you know, some of this actually, Matt, is because we've had people request to have you back on and actually talk about your stuff, not just gamer general stuff that we chit chat about. So
I had a lot of fun last time. We talked about, wasn't it, contrast paints and kind of like the express paints and things like that. Yeah, that was fun.
I know. I wish I hadn't missed that one because there were a couple of things that you guys had talked about in it that I was like, oh, I've messed with exactly that thing, or I've screwed up exactly that thing, or but that was probably more of the I've screwed up exactly that thing. But you know what I mean. But we're gonna as is typical. What are you working on, Eric? What's going on?
Well,
besides redecorating your room there.
Yeah, decorated a little bit today for Halloween. Happy Halloween, guys. I've been doing a lot of filming in the last week. So
that's exciting.
I got a certain pre-order from a certain company that Matt works with. So in a day, I opened it, filmed it, put it together, filmed some more, edited, uploaded. That's all today.
that is some new kind of record. I mean, once you said you opened it and built it all in the same day, that was an Eric record right there.
I just got to click a button after we get off and it'll go live. And then I did some finished filming bat rep last weekend. So I haven't been doing a whole lot of hobbying other than Saturday. I've been filming and putting stuff together and reading and all that stuff. All the stuff that's, I guess, fun, but it's more work because I gotta.
That's definitely hobbying. I'd say that's all
get
part
those
of the hobby.
gears going to retain it.
Well, I was working on setting up and moving stuff around too. I did this. Boom! So now I can join you for hobby night.
That's
I got a credit card.
I got it right here. So yes, don't worry. You don't have to steal that card number. There's nothing there. Now you don't have to do it all by yourself. Unless of course you want to, which is equally fine. But actually I was in kind of a slump and got back to painting.
You lit a fire under your butt this week because every time I go on Facebook or something, there's pictures Max posting of I painted this, I painted that.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me though. So my buddy Eric Luchard, the guy that owns Antimatter Games, Deep Wars and Shadow Seat. He reached out to me because they're partnering with, should I get the name of it? I think it's Level 427, which is, he's a 3D designer for FDM terrain stuff. And he's doing some kind of partnering thing with him. And for the longest time, I've really supported him. I've done a bunch of editing for him, play testing, for years. I took Deep Wars and Shadow Sea to different conventions and introduced it to people. It's a great game, uses the Song of Blades and Heroes rule set and has some real unique features to it. But he's kind of kicking off some new stuff. So that kind of got me excited, the new shiny kind of stuff. So I pulled out a bunch of my Deep Wars stuff and started throwing some paint on stuff I haven't in a while. So that's what I did. What about you, Matt? What are you working on, sir?
Well, the big thing play testing another game that we're working on called Breacher, and it's like a modern near future mercenary game. So you create your mercenary and you go on contracts and you murder piles of Op4 and try to achieve objectives, and you get rewarded with cryptocurrency, and then you build up your guy and you could train them and you can murder people in hand-to-hand and then use them as body shields. And it's a very action movie. It's less like military milsim and more like John Wick-esque, where you can do all sorts of crazy stuff, switch from your primary to your secondary and throw grenades at people.
Are you required to talk like Arnold Schwarzenegger when you play?
It helps. You get bonuses.
Oh, sweet. I need all the dice bonuses I can get, so I'll just cycle through all the action hero.
And we'll just straight up give you a +10 to all your skill values if you do that, and then maybe you might succeed in a roll or two.
Nah, let's not get carried away. I know this is gaming and I know this is gaming and fantasy, but let's not get too carried away, okay? True story. Well, if you're joining us, we got 4 people on right now. Say hello in the comments. What do we got? We got a couple people on Twitch, a couple people on YouTube. Well, if that's all we're working on, I guess it's straight to the shenanigans then, right?
Shenanigans, yeah. I figured we could start off with our basic grilling, because a lot of people wanted to dive into your mind, Matt, a little bit as a game writer. But we kind of wanted to talk about we kind of wanted to talk about a little bit about Don't Look Back and Violent Dark tonight.
Sure.
But and maybe Breacher.
We got a little taste there. I'm already intrigued.
We can talk about anything you want.
So what's up, Tonio?
I thought let's jump into our basic interview questions, Mac.
Oh, wow. It's been a while since we threw down an interview.
Yeah, should I sit up more for this?
Yeah, I think, if you could just exude professionalism, that would help. Oh, there you go. That's it right there. I don't know. Wait, that's too highbrow for us.
I need the screenshot right there.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I'll kick it off.
Go for it.
So to start this off, Matt, one of the questions we like asking people that are game designers or companies and stuff, basic question: how did you get started in the world of gaming? What was the game for you that you dove in and never looked back?
So it definitely started with Dungeons and Dragons was a big one. And then that turned into, I was always the person in the friends group who was the dungeon master. So I was always creating the worlds and telling this, starting the story for the players. And then I really got into like the hobby aspect of that. So then creating the maps, and then the maps went to like 3D terrain, and then having minis. And then actually the first war game, miniature game, I got Warhammer 40,000. I think it was 3rd edition when I was 12 for Christmas. And then I was like, oh, all right, this is really cool. And then that just started that whole thing. And I was lucky that my dad, he was like a single parent. I was with him, and he really was big into supporting all the things that I was into. So then he had a 40K army. And then he got into terrain building, and he built terrain with me, or built most of it for me and my friends. And then it just exploded from there into pretty much anything that I could get my hands on to play.
Well, I got to say, I think I felt my bones creak a little bit when you said you got into 3rd edition when you were 12. I think I felt my bones creak a little bit, man.
Yeah, I was almost 13. It was like a month before I turned 13. Yeah, but yeah, I
was active duty in the military playing 2nd edition, man. My bones creaking a little bit. Alan, where are you, man? I need to feel young. Alan's our Discovery Games cohort. He's laid up. He just got a knee replacement. So
I saw that.
I'm not there yet. Yep. Okay. See, there's Alder, Rogue Trader in his teens. Yeah, I missed Rogue. I actually missed Rogue Trader. I wasn't aware of it when it came out, but
Rogue Trader was actually a big inspiration. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say Rogue Trader for me was like when I found Rogue Trader, it's such a neat beginning for Warhammer. Like it's kind of what inspires what I like about creating skirmish games, because that was really had a lot of narrative elements to it.
Yes.
Way back in the day, it was a little bit less list building versus list building. There was a lot more like creating the table and what the hostile worlds did, and it was very cool. Yes. I really like Rogue Trader.
I never got to play it, but I have read the book, so it's very cool. So in all of that beginning time for you, what was your go-to game when you first started getting into mini games?
So it was actually the I don't even remember the company that made it now, but there was an Aliens and a Terminator miniature game, D10 based, and that was like what my friends and I really got into playing. So we had these like pewter aliens and colonial marines and Terminator minis, and we would just like combine the two systems and mix them up, and that was a good one for a long time. Yeah, that was a great game.
That's the birth of game writing right there, right? I took this game I liked and this game I liked, and I just smushed them together.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh look, you brought.
Hey, it's Corey.
What's up, Corey? Welcome.
So he's the author of Yafsiga.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did not get in on the
you did.
The back room.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. Okay, apparently I did. Apparently I did, and I was unaware that I did. But it's just like those things you slowly progress into them. You know what I mean? It's like I don't always jump on the Kickstarters anymore. I've become a late pledge person these days because I feel like I want to get each new one to a certain point before I jump into the new one. So like for Don't Look Back, or not Don't Look Back, because I don't have Don't Look Back, for Violent Dark, like I built the table before I even got the game, and then I painted everything, and now I have to paint all these.
Yes.
Yeah. Because some company that I'm familiar with and really like, and not gonna lie, just like everybody else.
After one show, we probably were talking about it. He sends me a screenshot.
Oh, be quiet.
Of a thing that doesn't even fit in the whole screen.
Of an order?
I don't know what you're talking about. Listen, I remember the day I fell into the Black Site Studios hole, and it was for Twisted. And I have almost every Night Haven building because they're perfect for Twisted. They're my favorite buildings. I love also Foreground, right? Their medieval fantasy buildings are great too, but they're small.
Yep.
And the Night Haven, it's perfect. And there's I have some of the roads in my basket right now but I had to wait. I had to wait though because I had to buy a printer.
Yeah, and Ben at Black Site just did a really cool video. He's doing these like terrain school videos.
Yes, I've been watching them.
A cool one for Night Haven, one of the buildings in that, and he did it into like a
those videos
style building. It's like
those videos are enough to make me take all my terrain stuff and just throw it.
It's a cool addition. It's like a neat, like you can do it a piece at a time or like a level of it at a time, like just do some of the highlighting, then go back to it. It's cool. It's a really neat elevation. What
I really like about it is, I don't know how we got off on this, but anyway,
gaming talk.
Right, basically.
That's
what I really like about it is because all the Black Site stuff is pre-painted, you can upgrade them and then still have painted stuff on the table. And for me, who I just want to play for immersion, I don't want a not painted building and a painted building and a not painted. I can have different degrees of excellence in the painting, but I really like those videos because of that. You can have zero hobby skill when it comes to terrain stuff, and you can slap them on the table and they look great. Or you can go watch those videos, follow along, and boom, there you are. Alder has a good question. Does Don't Look Back and Violent Dark have similar rules and different settings? I don't think you or I can answer that, Eric, because we each only have one game. So Matt, question for you.
They are similar and different. So when I first started working with Ben and Connor at Blacksite, and I wrote Violent Dark, was kind of the very first thing that we sort of did anything together with, and it was called Anomaly back in the day.
I have the early PDF.
Yeah, and it was kind of designed to be used specifically with this terrain thing that they had made. And that's sort of where the core system came from. So like the D20 system that I had made and the stats that I was using and long and short skills. And then we went into working on Don't Look Back, which was originally Slasher back in the day before it became Don't Look Back.
Nice.
It uses some of the very, very similar elements, but the way that the turn moves and the focus on the characters is very different between the two of them. Don't Look Back, your character is sort of like a focal point of the game, and I mean, you kind of want people to die, but you're sort of rooting for them to maybe make it through the night to survive this plot. And in Violent Dark, the characters are like meat sacks. Like they are a resource, and you are following, and that you're really kind of following whatever threat, and they're the ones that are growing and evolving. But the rules are similar, but there are some, I think, some key differences that really capture the different genres. Like I don't want to say genres because I think of Alien as a horror movie. And the atmosphere of these games is very different. So Alien has a very specific claustrophobic atmosphere, the way the tension rises. So they are similar things. If you played one and saw the other one, yeah, there you go, same DNA.
Whenever I play Violent Dark, I feel like some corporate executive of Wayland Yutani. You know, I'm sitting up here going, yeah, we're probably 60% casualty, but we're looking at 160% increase in gross profit. Those are good numbers. Let's do this.
Unthaw some more people. Just thaw them out. Just get them going. Exactly. Oh, we lost all those people.
We got more. We got more.
We got more.
We got more. I just gotta buy them.
So Matt, what exactly was it that possessed you to be like, I could write game rules, I can write a game? What was it that got you started into that?
So really from the role-playing background, it started with like I said, like taking D&D, and then I would make my own worlds and change the rules, and never did any of the like the monsters by like Monster Manual when I made my own, or used like really high level. It didn't matter. Like I would just do whatever I wanted. And then it kind of got to the point where I didn't want to use the role-playing systems that were out there. So I started writing my own role-playing games. And then, my friends and I really were into miniatures, and I would start doing the same things. Like I would run scenarios for people and sort of be like the storyteller for miniature games. And I would create scenarios for whatever we were playing, mainstream or indie games, whatever it was. And then I decided, well, why not just make my own? And then that was actually kind of right at the start, like right before COVID, I started writing my first game. And then COVID hit, and with teaching, we had to do everything remotely. So I was home all the time. So I just was like, well, I can really dive into this. So that was kind of how that started. And by the end of COVID, I had at least a playable start to 14 games. Like over the period of that 2 years, I wrote like 14 different games, and that's just where we're at.
Okay, well, I'm only aware of a couple, so we're gonna need the rest of those games soon from you.
Some of them are on the Discord, actually, the Black Site Discord. We started a writer's corner, and I have 4 of them, I think, that are in there that people can just, you don't have to be a playtester. You can just hop in, check out the rules, and try them out, and leave comments, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, there's a Western one, Mac, that I can use my tubs and tubs of Wild West Exodus for.
Nice.
Yep. That was when Black Site said, "Hey, we're making a Western terrain set." And I was like, "Oh, all right."
I have a Western game then. Okay, so I've got a question. How did you connect with Black Site Studios? How did that relationship come to be?
So I had actually started buying some of their MDF kits. So Ben and Connor, it started initially as a just custom terrain. And then I guess they had got a laser to start doing some things with that, whatever. Then they started making kits, and I had bought like a fair amount of stuff. And then I don't know, I just messaged them one day about something gaming related. And then we just sort of started kind of chatting about like they were making buildings for a game, and I had played a lot of games. So some of the just kind of the back kind of conversation is just about like elements for the terrain, like how, what should we maybe add, or what could we add to this?
Oh yeah.
Specifically for some of like their, like the Zaibatsu stuff that they've done, some of the cyberpunk stuff we were talking about, like for Infinity and things like that, like how best can it be used to interact with that. And then I wrote this game, and I reached out to them, and I was like, hey, I'm really kind of interested in maybe getting a game published. Do you know anybody in that world? And they were like, well, actually, we're really looking at starting this kind of second side of Black Site. So doing like terrain, but then also doing game design and development. And they were like, do you want to take a look at what you have? So I made like a tabletop simulator for this game. And then we played a few games together. And then that was how it started. Then Anomaly was kind of like, let's see how we work together. So let's design a game, sort of as a collective, and see how that relationship works. And it was a blast. And I haven't looked back since. They're amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, listen, I think they've established a pretty amazing reputation on the terrain side anyway. Eric and I have talked about it a couple of times. You come into buying a piece of terrain, and you look at the price tag on them, and you get a little bit of sticker shock. But then you go look at the unpainted stuff that's out there. Mm-hmm. And unless you're getting TT Combat stuff, which, hey, I love TT Combat's MDF terrain, don't get me wrong. But, you're coming close to the same price anyway. And you're getting, but you're getting awesome quality. You're getting great customer service, because I know you've had problems a couple times with missing pieces.
Yeah.
I had one missing wall to one of my small buildings when I bought like $500 worth of Night Haven stuff. And Alan was like, well, just reach out to him. I'm like, I'm good. I've got a stack of MDF this tall to put together. I don't really want that last wall right now. So I was good. So, I mean, and then Don't Look Back just like went through the roof. It was
Don't Look Back was really amazing, because it was really a foundational thing for them as well. It was like, let's just try getting all the pieces of everything together to produce a game. And they kind of knew what I wanted. I wanted it to be an in-person experience. Like when you open up the box, kind of like the way we used to game back when I was a kid. There was nothing online. Like you had a physical rule book. You had the miniature, like everything was there, and you're playing with your friends around a table. And it was originally going to be like a super boutique game. There was really a conversation when we were going to launch it that was cool if we sold 30. If we sold 30 of this, that would be great. And everything was originally going to be like the boxes. And some people have them. I believe that the initial ones went out. The boxes weren't even like a printed product. It was hand spray painted, the logo on the box. Wow. And all the stuff that was in it was going to be like really like hand wrapped miniatures. Like we had talked about doing like bloody gauze to wrap the miniatures in. And then it just kind of exploded. And almost immediately they had to start looking at like actually having components manufactured at that
mass production all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it's been a neat ride.
Yeah, I remember when it first came out, because Alan at Discover Games was all over it. He was like, oh man, this is really cool, you should check it out. And I've played Don't Look Back a couple of times. And when I've played it, I've played with him. And I've had it at Coastal Con 2 years, 2 of the 3 years, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Look back at it. But it's a fun game, man. I really don't know why I don't have it yet, because you can play it solo. I don't know why I don't have it. And I see Eric is looking at me right now, because he's thinking, I wonder if his hand has creeped over to a little plus sign on his screen to go
on the shopping cart.
to the Blackside Studios website to click on something. And now it would, except I just bought a printer. So I have to,
you want to just get all the rule books and fan them like a deck of cards. And
look, I got a fan right here. Look here. Back off me, man. Watch this. I got a fan. Look here.
Oh, yes.
There's a good one. That's
the Rogue Synths. They're my fave. They are my fave. The two characters that come in there, the mercenary and the synth hunter. Yeah. They're some of my favorite Ben sculpts for sure.
I just got them, so I'm looking forward to that. Holy moly. That's what happens when you have fun. You run out of time fast.
Yeah.
I know, we're getting there.
Getting there. So I got one more general question for you, Matt, and we can finish off about the game stuff. When you're writing, when you're coming up with, something for a system, do you come up with the actual, mechanical side of a rule and then kind of fit it to a narrative? Or this is what I'm thinking. Do you come up with a story, something cool narrative, and then squish some kind of mechanical to it?
So my process is usually when I have an idea for something that I want to make or create, I usually make a table for it first. So I'll hand make terrain and do whatever and kind of create a scene.
You just became my favorite person ever.
And then it's literally like playing with toys. I use some proxy minis and sort of like, what do I want to be able to do on this terrain in whatever the world genre is? And then I start taking some notes on that. Like, what do I think is the most important thing for these miniatures to be able to do on this terrain? And then I sort of build out from there. And then I'll create like what dice system or what system do I think would be fun to sort of represent what's going on. And then, it just sort of builds out from there. And then I'll kind of go back in and add like the micro details for how they all connect and start cleaning up some of that kind of stuff. But it's usually terrain and playing first.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people wonder about that, and they ask how do writers come up with this stuff. And I know everybody has their own creative process of how they do stuff. So it's always nice to hear a writer or a creator, talk about how they come up with this stuff, how the mad scientists come up with it.
Yeah, I'm always that's what, like Corey, who's in here. It's really neat to see how, because I'm not like a technical person. So I use just like a Google Doc to create my like playtest documents, and whatever I can get away with. And that is kind of what I do. And Corey he comes up with these, like his playtest documents are like these like super polished. They've got like graphics and things in them. And I'm like, I can use Google Slides and use some shapes and make some arrows that do some things. But he's got like, it's neat to see how other people kind of produce, and you can see their, especially in playtest documents, kind of how they think and organize. But it's also what I love the most about game design is like honing the craft, is like getting better each time you make something, or improving how I do things behind the scenes to make something. So I'm always interested in like writing classes and watching people online for board game design or any kind of design, or just, talking with anybody about it. It's fun. It's a neat experience to grow in this hobby, that part of the hobby.
I'm just excited that you start with the table. That makes me super excited.
I'm a very visual person, so having that creates that it starts the story in my mind when I see the table, and I'm like, oh, I want them to be able to jump on this or shoot over that or slide under this.
Every game I play, when I look at it and I'm looking through the rule book, the first thought I have is, what kind of table am I going to build? Like I said, with Violent Dark, I didn't have anything. I was like, I'm gonna build a table because that sounds super cool. So I built a table.
Corey giving you props.
Thanks, Corey. Yeah, he's such a chill dude too. Like it's true. We actually just a little while earlier we're talking one of his game writer corners. We were just having a conversation about it's fun. Talking shop is a lot of fun.
Well, you know what? We should see if Corey wants to come on with us sometime and talk about Yafsiga.
Yeah, that should you should, because he's a very different, like his design and the way he does things and the way he thinks is very different, and it's very cool. Like it's cool. Yafsiga is a neat game.
It should be releasing very, very soon.
They're on a boat, cool. I hear.
They're on a boat. It's cool to hear
I'm in
you
on it. So apparently
I know your hookup. It's cool to hear you talk about progression like that, because that's something that excites me when you look at. I remember when Don't Look Back started, and you talk about progression, and you just hit probably one of my favorite types of gameplays with this new expansion. And I mentioned it to Mac earlier tonight. I said, zombies.
That's a funny story. I know we're like done, but that was a really, so Connor is like kind of anti-zombie, and they were sort of on this like, it's been done and everybody does zombies, and it's like, it's out there. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to be writing rules that you can have lots of minions on the table. And they were like, oh, that's really cool. And then I was like, oh, what are those going to be, zombies? And Ben was like, yes. And we were like, let's just hope Connor doesn't see it. Like, it was kind of like that sort of thing. But I finally got zombies in.
And loads of cultists, which I think is cool. Yeah. I mean, I read the rules, and it's just my head was exploding of, oh, we can have great old ones and little cultists and sacrificing them. And oh my gosh.
Yeah, zombies and cultists are my favorite. They are by far my fave.
Well, there you go. Bob's your uncle, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
So I know what you're trying to do, Eric, and I'm not clicking on anything right now because I just bought a printer. So stop it. It's supposed to be here Monday.
Well, and then I'm really excited too to eventually I will pull that trigger on Violent Dark, because I'm huge. When I was a kid, Aliens was the thing. So I want to send the lambs to the slaughter and just have some fun.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah. So especially for me, it's bad.
I mean, that game kind of just, it speaks to me of how far, like video game terms, how far in the level can you get before you just get creamed and you have to restart,
Yep. And it's like, and what I enjoy about that game, I mean, I wrote it, so this is like biased, I guess, but what I like is that you can really feel it coming. Like you maybe don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but like, that people are just going to get like ripped apart, and it's glorious.
Feel like Bill Paxton and Aliens.
Game over, man.
Game over, man. Game over. I know.
It's a lot of game over.
There's always that one model you want to survive too. Mine's the medic, just because he's my favorite one, because whoever sculpted him must have been a G.I. Joe fan, because he looks like the old G.I. Joe bazooka.
Yeah, that's a Ben. They're all Ben sculpts.
Yeah.
To me, it would probably be the cat that survives. So
yeah, right. Or me, nobody.
Which is fair.
Smear.
It's okay.
I really like the stowaway. I like playing with the stowaway because he can like pop. She can pop through walls and just like go different places. And
well, they're both great games, and I'm just excited to see what you continue to come up with and what Black Site continues to put out there.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about the fact that Black Site got in the new building, and I know the two of the lasers went down, but that they're able to have that stuff out there, because for so long there was stuff that would just be out of stock just because they couldn't keep up with the demand, which I mean, that's a good problem to have, right?
Problem. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good problem, but it's a good problem to have if you're going to have one, I guess. I don't have a laser. I have a laser pointer that I shoot bad guys with on the table, but that's all I have. Nothing too fancy. But it is Matt. Thanks so much for joining us, man. It was a lot of fun talking to you about.
Well, thanks for having me.
All these
blast,
cool
as
games
always
that you create.
I'm looking for the next Adepticon already, Matt.
Now I kind of know what I wanted, like how to do it. That was my first time doing something like that. I'm really excited to I really want to demo Violent Dark, and I really want to do Don't Look Back, and then hopefully we'll have some other fun little
just
things,
fun games. Yeah,
to check out
game.
and to it'll be
those
fun.
Other 12 games that he wrote.
Love to do some Wild West. Would love to play Breacher there. I think that would be really
need
fun.
Some more. You're gonna need some more table space.
They're working on it.
All right, Eric.
All
I
right,
think it's your turn. All right, Alder. Have a good night, sir. Thank you for joining us from.
Bye, everybody.
Tomorrow.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, invaders. If you're new to the show or just want some more content, you can find all our audio content on all the podcast platforms for your listening pleasure. And make sure you check us out on all the socials, on the YouTubes for video like unboxings. One's coming soon, as soon as we get off. And please visit us on the Discord, where we got the growing community. Everybody's sharing their different projects they're going in there. We like hearing what you guys are getting into. And if you like to support us, you can visit us at Patreon/Indie Invasion. And Mac's favorite, you can support us also on Redbubble by buying some merch, putting some stuff. It's getting chilly, Mac. I had to pull out the hoodie.
Where's it getting chilly? It is
chilly
not
up here.
It's not getting chilly here.
It's probably getting chilly by Matt too.
Yes.
I still got flip flops on, man. It's good.
Bad. That's bad. But
hey, the ocean.
Yeah, I know what he's gonna say. Just come on down.
Just move.
Until next time, guys. Have fun. Have a good Halloween, and prepare yourself for the invasion.